All right, so let's go to Hawaii, Pearl Harbor. Well, in and around Pearl Harbor first, then we'll go to Pearl Harbor, check out the different things we want to do there. As a matter of fact, let's start at Johnston and just see what we have going on here. We have got a patrol craft, the Catalina. I have changed this over. Now, you see this red on using torpedoes. That means obviously there are no torpedoes for this to arm itself with at Johnston Island. That's okay. You could keep it on using torpedoes. If the game sees there are no torpedoes, it would just drop bombs. But we really don't want it to do that. I say it's a squadron of two Catalinas. They're going to be running out here just so we can keep tabs on the Japanese. Now, they may get shot down. We certainly hope they don't, but they may. But we're going to run out here anyway, just to kind of keep tabs on this main task force. It'll only be one more turn since we're doing 2-day turns, and he'll be out of our range. Of course, we have the one up at Midway also running. I say the one, I mean squadron of patrol aircraft running search out here just to keep tabs on these guys, make sure they're not doing anything crazy. What else do we have out here? We have an engineering group and we have the Johnston Defense Battalion. Now, spoiler alert, I am bringing things out here to Johnston. I always like to defend that. You don't want the Japanese to get in here and have a little bit of a staging base just to pick up a little extra fuel. It's a little too close to Pearl for my liking. At Johnston, we are building fortifications. Okay. The airfield and port capacity, we're not going to expand those. It would just take too much supply, and it's not really necessary, I guess. I mean, they don't really, if you did need to fly something out here, you've got a little airfield capacity. We're only going to put a little AKL that comes out here and and brings supply to the troops. But other than that, you don't really need anything. You're close enough to Pearl that any ship can get back here. No reason to expand the port or build up the airfield, in my opinion. Just my opinion. Okay, we did have this, the AM Robin. It did get damaged. It is currently on fire. Now, I had that going back to Pearl. I actually think I will disband that, put that in port, and let's go find it here, the Robin. Okay, let's click on that. It is currently firefighting. There is nothing we can do here. Now, it does have some major damage, but in port, hopefully they can put out the fire. The flood damage is only at 25. That will probably grow, but we got to wait for the fire to be out, and then we'll try to get it back to Pearl Harbor if we can for some repair. Okay, LeHue. We've got a float plane here. He's doing a big general search. Now he's only got, I say big, he's only got a maximum range of 5. Usually I like these to be on a altitude of, it could be anywhere from 4 to 8,000. I feel like I put them on 6 sometimes. I put them on 5. I don't think, that's a big deal, but it's just kind of running search all around here, just making sure nothing creeps up on us. It's only got 2 planes, so it's not going to that's a lot of space to cover for 2 planes, right? We could just have it go directly west, and maybe at some point we will. We do have an infantry unit out here, 35 strength, combat, defend, LeHue. That's what we're going to do. You always want to build the fortifications, in places. I mean, imagine the Japanese just landing here with no fortifications. Okay, hey, you're on LeHue. You can wave at each other across here. So build up forts there. We will get a little supply out there. We'll send one of our tiny supply ships over there. Lahaina, all right, we have a base force and an infantry division. Again, we're building forts. We could expand the airfield. Sometimes I will do that here, just in case for some reason, if Pearl Harbor gets bombed, you can transfer all those planes over to Lahaina. Now all of a sudden he's got to take out 2 runways. The chances of that happening are fairly slim, and they should be slim if you play correctly. But if you get yourself in a bad bind, you may want to have Lahaina built up just so you can hop them over here and try to get them on, out of here or something. Other than that, we've got 5 ships in port. What are they? Well, let's put them together. We've got an AK, the Hugh Merchant. All right. We'll form that up. We'll make that a cargo. The Hugh Merchant. Done. All right. And we're going to set its home base at Pearl Harbor. And we will probably have this either go, well, let's see, the Merchant is 5 points. This could be what goes out to Johnston. It could go up to Midway, but let's get it over to Pearl first. Next turn, he'll come right at, port to port there. And then we have two tankers, the Gulf Hawk and the Gulf Land. Now, these are interesting ones because ultimately, we don't really need them going back to the West Coast. We've got so many big tankers that go in and out of the West Coast that using these small ones to do that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And so these are the ones I like to use. So let's take the Gulf Hawk. That's a little faster. You can see it's got a 16 speed. Um, Now this does not have enough fuel, so what you have to do is take it over to Pearl, but I'll have this be what goes down to Christmas Island, Palmyra, and potentially Pago Pago, maybe even Suva. But let's get it over here to Pearl first, where there is fuel. You can see a huge capacity on the Gulf Hawk. It just doesn't have much endurance or much speed. That's not true. It's got decent speed. It just doesn't have much endurance. We'll tanker up here. Let's go get the other one, which is the Gulf Land. All right, we'll keep these as two separate ones because this one can then go to whatever the Gulf Hawk doesn't go to. Yeah, this is the Gulf Land. Okay, Gulf Land, Gulf Hawk. These two can come out of Pearl Harbor and go to islands and drop off fuel and get the fuel supplies built up. So we got tankers going over to Pearl. Then we have two AGs. These are ammunition tenders or general tenders, I think. Actually, I usually use them or think of them as being you can see here. Here, we'll bring it up. I usually think of them as being ammunition tenders, but they're auxiliary miscellaneous, miscellaneous. And so we'll take those over to Pearl a lot. We'll have a lot of tenders sitting at Pearl because really they don't do you a lot of good until 43, 44, but then they do you a lot of good. So, we just want to protect those. We'll get them over here. Um, if you use these tenders correctly, they can be very, very powerful, especially when you're doing some island hopping. You gotta have them. So we'll take those over to Pearl. We'll disband them there, and that's really Lahaina. We've got all that built up. Let's go down to Hilo. We've got no ships in port here. We've got no planes out here. As you can see, in turn one, I started building fortifications. Build up forts, keep the infantry here. It makes it almost impossible for the Japanese to land it. By the time they would be ready to do that, your fort level should be up to like a 4, a 3 or a 4, and continuing to build, so you should be fine. Okay, let's go into Pearl and see what we got in the air. As you can see, I set every dang fighter in the game to escort 50, a cap of 50. These are all cap 50. If we look, cap 50, escort, cap 50. Current altitude, 15,000 feet. Why is that? Well, let's go look at the Warhawk. The Warhawk has the same maneuverability at 15 as it does at 10. The higher the altitude, generally, the more advantageous it is for air-to-air combat. So you kind of want to run them, whatever these are all Warhawks. Let's try to find something else if we can. I'm not seeing it. These are all Warhawks out here. Or did I? No, they're not. Come on, Chris. There we go. Mohawks. Let's see what the Mohawks got. 55. I don't put these on maximum. I don't see any reason to take them to a 6. You up your likelihood of operational losses. And what are we doing out here? All we're doing is protecting Pearl Harbor. I mean, you could literally have this on 0 probably for the max range, but I do put them on 5. Now, why have I got this at 9,000, you may ask? Well, let's look. As you can see, it's got a tremendous advantage when it's at less than 10,000 feet. It's got a 30 maneuverability. It's actually got a really good maneuverability at 10 to 15 as well, but I like to layer these. And what do I mean by that? Well, we've got the Warhawks that are good at 15, right? So we got some at 15. I will even put a few up at 20. Then I'll have some at 10, and then I have these Mohawks down at 9. And that way, no matter what altitude he may be coming in at, we have planes there, and we should have planes that will drop from above. And so you just want to kind of layer these. Now, everything that is not a fighter, Okay, so let's go back through this. Bolos are medium bombers, right? Fortresses are big bombers. So we've got training 100, training 100. Let's just look at these fortresses. I do have this one training on airfield attack. With B-17s, it would either be airfield attack or port attack, really. With Bolos, if we go back to the Bolos, um, now, this one I've got on airfield attack. I don't really like that. Let's do naval attack with these. Make sure they're on 0. And for naval attack, I like to be down, could be 5,000 feet, could be 6,000, could be 8,000. Let's put these guys on 8,000. And it looks like I actually do need to go through here. So let's just click through because it looks like the bombers, maybe I didn't completely set up the training. Now, here you see in a Wildcat fighter, it's carrier capable. Okay. You're like, all right, well, it's carrier capable. It is not carrier trained. We'll need to get this on a carrier and train these guys up. Wildcat fighters, I don't know why I would have that on naval attack. I don't think I went through these last time other than to throw things up into cap. And so training, escort, um, you could also do them for sweep. We haven't gotten to that yet. Early in the game, I do most for escort, but you do want to be training some for sweep. And what's the difference? Well, escort, obviously, you're escorting bombers, or that's kind of your intended role. A sweep is more of an offensive mission where you're going to go strafe things. So, but we'll put these on escort because that's usually what you're going to have your or I'm sorry, your carrier fighters do. But obviously, I didn't set this up last time, so we're going to have to. Well, now see, this one I did, so I'm not sure. Again, this is carrier capable. We will get this when we go look at carriers and when we bring carriers in, we'll get this all lined up. But for now, training naval attack. It's a dive bomber, so you're going to want a naval attack with this thing. We've got transports, okay, training, transport. Okay. Anything U.S. Navy forward air central Pacific or Hawaiian is what you want to have out here. Anything that's just Pacific Fleet or any of, let's say, 2 fighter command, those go down into the South Pacific. But anything forward air central Pacific, generally I would leave here. You're going to want to get these guys trained up. You also want to add pilots to everything. And so let's go back to this dive bomber. Okay, we've got 22. That's probably good. This has only got 10. And you want to pick any pilots, really. At this point, we're not going to request veterans because we've got a lot of training to do anyway. Let's get 8 new pilots in here. Now we have 18, and we'll get even more carrier pilots trained that way, and we reduce the fatigue. Okay, you can see here we did set up this naval search, and I put this in. Maximum range 16. We could even go up to 20 if we wanted to. Yeah, sure, let's do it. Let's get him up at 15,000 feet. So now he's actually going to be running, or should be running out to that line. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now these guys are running out this way. I've got them on 16. Let's put them on 20. Okay, that's extended. So we're doing naval search with a lot of these Catalinas, and then I have some coming this way. Now this is only 7. He's got 4 that are currently damaged from the runs on Pearl Harbor. We'll get that out to 20, and this way you get really good visibility in and out around Pearl Harbor. Now I will lower the altitudes here. Um, Early on, I probably keep it at 15,000. Yeah, you're going to be looking for a big, wide range of things. Later on, we'll get a little more specific, so you want to lower down your altitude. But I'll come back and do that at some other time. So naval search. So as you can see, we've got it covered from north to south with naval search. Then we have recon, which, okay, get this guy out to an 8. Um, I don't know. We get, search, kind of just a big general search with the 047. That's fine. That's fine. Level bombers. So here's the fortress training airfield attack. The B-17 is probably 15,000 feet. It's fine. You could go higher, obviously, if we look at the aircraft data. Their max altitude's all the way up at 37,000 feet. The higher you run them, the more or the less accurate they would be. Let's just train those at 20,000 for now. Um, the Bolos were training down at 8,000 for naval attack. We could also do ASW. I think that's the one I just changed. Here's these bolos. Let's do them for ASW patrol. At ASW patrol, let's get down at 5,000 feet for training. Here we've got some A20A Havocs. Okay, let's train them. Eh, you could do ground attack. Now, I like the Marauder. I like the Mitchells and the Marauders, the B-25s and the B-26s for ground attack. These probably naval attack. I'd have to go read a little more about the 20A Havoc and see exactly what it's good for. But let's do this at, let's say, 8,000 feet. You could never go wrong really doing 8,000 feet. It's a good in between um, for a lot of these naval missions. We've got 12 pilots in here. We've got 8 there, 8 there. You kind of just want to have, extra up to double just to get them more training. Recon, you probably don't need. I mean, I like to put them more into the bombers and fighters, certainly. Um, 3 and 2. Okay, that's fine. Let's go here then. We've got some more bolos. We've got them on ASW patrol. I had those going at 7,000 feet. Let's bump those down to, let's try these guys at 4,000 feet. He's got some extra pilots there that are training. 4 and 7, train 100, ASW patrol. You're going to be using the bolos a lot for ASW. I generally like to run those at maybe 4,000, 5,000, something like that. Train, this is the fortress. Let's do this one on port attack just to make sure we've got some extra going. As you can see, he's got several damaged. Let's get 2 new pilots into this group. Okay, we're pulling off the pool, just kind of the general pool. We've got those at 0, 15,000 feet. Okay, that's fine. Train 15. These are more big B-17s. Get 2 new pilots in there. Okay. Level bombers. Fine. The B-7. Oh, it's the heavy level bomber. It is the Fortress. We'll do these on port attack. Okay, so we're getting a nice little. He will need a new pilot or 2 over here. Let's put 8 in here. He'll eventually have 6 planes running. Just make sure they're on training 0. More fortresses. This one will do airfield attack. Okay. 2 and 0. He's got 3 pilots. Let's get a new pilot. 20,000 feet. All right, that all looks good. Even more, even more. This all looks fine. Fighters, okay. So we've got the Warhawk. We've already talked about that. 15,000 feet. As you saw, we do have some up at, and I've got these at a maximum range of 5, which is their normal radius. 5 here. Uh, and now those were at 10,000. I've got maximum range of 5 here up at 15,000. And again, you've got massive coverage here. Here's the Mohawk at 9,000. Normal range at 9,000 for these other Mohawks. Since the Warhawks fly best at 15,000, I've got them at 10 and 15, and I've got the Mohawks down lower since they have a really nice ability at a lower altitude. Okay, we've got just a couple more fighters. These are 50. I tell you what, why don't we kick one of these up to 20,000 just because, and we'll make sure it's the Warhawk. It is. Looks like, we get a new pilot here maybe. 16, 16. I don't want 9 new pilots, but let's get, I don't know, 4? Sure, cap, 15, 5. Perfect. All right, so that's the air. We've got 285 aircraft here. If we look, we're building fortifications. We are expanding the port here. You're going to get so many supplies in here, you may as well try to get Pearl Harbor 2 and 8. We cannot get the airfield any bigger than a 10. As a matter of fact, it's one of the only 10 airfields in the game, maybe the only one for that matter. Um, okay, we have 2 ACMs present. That's nice. We've got an assault strength of 542 sitting here, although we will want to send some of this stuff out at some point here. Um, Okay, so that's the planes. Now let's go look at the task forces we've already got here. We've got subs. They've come back into Pearl Harbor. They're rearming, refueling. We've got the Cachalot. Okay, doesn't have any orders right now. We've got the Dolphin. We've got the Narwhal. We've got the Gudgeon. Now, none of these have been damaged, thank goodness. We've got a couple of DMSs here, okay, so they're destroyer minesweepers. They also have ASW ability. Um, we have an AVD here, which is a seaplane tender. I would probably like to send this somewhere else. There's not really a reason to have an AVD sitting at Pearl Harbor because ultimately it's got all it needs without any, help. We've got some AMCs here, the Crossbill and the Condor, and then we've got more submarines that we put into sub-patrol task forces last time. We'll need to give all of these things orders as we go, but before we do that, let's go look at the ships in port and we'll see the types here. All right, we've got some light cruisers, we've got a lot of destroyers, and I mean a lot. We've got patrol craft, PTs. We've also got, just regular patrol craft and then PT boats. These are torpedo boats. They don't have much endurance, but man, if they get a hold of a sub or a Japanese sub, they'll do some damage. Mine layers. Okay, so we've got a lot of mine layers. We've got mine sweep destroyers. We've got a lot of mine sweepers. And then we've got tenders. This is a minesweeper, but then we've got the submarine tender. Again, no reason to have this here, or destroyer tenders for that matter. We've also got aircraft tenders, destroyer tenders. We've got more aircraft tenders for patrols. We've got a repair tender. We don't really need those here either. We've got miscellaneous tenders, and then we start the AOs, the big old oil tankers, or refuelers, oilers. We've got ammunition replenishments here, and then we start in on all the cargo ships and ACMs. I say, oh, we really don't have that many here to start the game. You see, we do have one transport sitting here, but it's not like we have a ton here. Now, the light cruisers obviously are going to sit right here. The destroyers, the ones that have small endurances, so the smallest endurances, like the Chew, the Schley, the Litchfield, any of these, um, because all of our destroyers at the start only have a 2 ASW, they are going to be running ASW all in and around Hawaii. The ones that are a little bigger, we're going to send back to the West Coast. I say a little bigger, have a little bit bigger endurance. We'll send back to the West Coast to do work there. We will send a few around to Suva, Pago Pago. We'll get one out to Christmas Island. We'll get one out to Palmyra. We'll get one out to Nomaya. Now, let's also go look at all of the ships under repair. Now, I did this last time, and you can see all of the ships that are in repair here at Pearl. So everything that, had any kind of damage really, I put under repair, but I did only put 95,000 tons into the shipyard. The shipyard has a capacity of 98,000 tons. Okay. The port is also damaged, so we're going to need to, get the port fixed. Our engineers will be out doing that. Now, luckily, we have big base forces here, and that'll really help. But as you can see, we have the West Virginia that's in the shipyard. We have the Arizona in the shipyard. We could actually well, now we have the Pennsylvania in the shipyard. Now, some of these battleships, I'm going to try to get them up to a level where their float is under 30, their float damage. The New Orleans is almost there. We could actually send this back probably now, but then I'll send these back to San Francisco and the big old repair yard there when I'm confident they won't sink. Now, probably these would be okay, but why take a chance? I mean, there's just no reason to take a chance this early in the game. Now you see these cruisers, and you see I've got them all pier side, right? Now that's not going to take care of the major damage, but as they get a little better, the system repairs a little bit, and et cetera, with these light cruisers and cruisers, I will send those back to San Francisco. Same idea with the destroyers, the subs, okay? So as these things get little better, little better, little better. we'll start sending them back. Now, you could do this the opposite way, which is to take the ones that are in really bad shape and just have them pier side and put all the ones that you could probably get some, uh, I guess, get them repaired more quickly. You could put them in first. I do it the opposite because I feel like at the start of the game, you have more time than later in the game. So let's get these going. Now, we can always take them out of the shipyard and send them back to the U.S. West Coast where you have even more massive shipyards like at San Francisco, and there's no pressure, right? Because you don't have just a gob of damaged ships like we do at Pearl Harbor right now. But I do like to, give it a little bit, maybe a couple of months, see where we are, and then we'll start sending things back to the U.S. West Coast. Okay, St. Louis and Detroit, as I said, are going to sit here. The Helm, the Mugford, the Ralph Talbot. These are some of your better destroyers at the start. Let's just look at the Ralph Talbot again. It's got a 132 anti-aircraft, a 2 for the anti-sub. Now, very early in the game, you get brand new U.S. destroyers that have radar, and so their ASW is a 4. That is what you're going to want to put with your carriers eventually. What the carriers have right now is not very good. When I say not very good, it's not good at all. But let's look at the St. Louis has a 512 anti-aircraft. Well, that's a light cruiser. The Helm 132 and 2 is going to be your best destroyer at the start. I'm almost 100% certain that's true. And they've got the 8,000 here for the range. So these I'm actually going to keep here because I will mix them in because of their good AA with the carriers. So let's go on to the next group, the 6500s. And these are the ones you want to really maybe, now they do have an anti-aircraft of 159, an ASW of 2. They also have that speed. So they actually have a little better anti-air. Wow, I'd never really noticed that before, I guess. I always just assumed these were better. Now, these have the better endurance, and it's close enough on AA that we're going to just take these, and these will be the ones we send around to the various islands. Then we can look at the Selfridge, again, 146 and 2. It's also got this 7,500. Hmm. So maybe what we'll do is let's take the Selfridge. Okay. Rightio then. We'll take the Selfridge done and we'll send that over to Suva because it's got a decent AA and it's got some anti-sub. And let's use waypoints. All right. Set waypoint 1 and we'll just do it out and around Christmas Island into Suva. And we'll take the other 7,500. All right. That's the Phelps. Okay. We'll do a surface combat. Let's take the Phelps. There you are, sir. Done. And let's send that to Pago Pago. And this will give us a little AA around these islands early on. And I don't think any reason we need to take this around. That can go straight down. If it does run into a sub, that might be a good thing for us. Okay, let's look at some of these other destroyers, and maybe we'll kind of work backwards here a little bit. So take the Schley. The Schley doesn't have much going on. It's got a little anti-aircraft. It gives you a little anti-sub. It's only worth 5 points. So let's form a new task force. Let's do ASW combat. And let's go get the Schley. The Schley, where are you? Why am I having a hard time finding that? There it is. Right, the Schley and the Chew. Okay, so done. And let's set its home port at Johnston. This is the, least powerful destroyer you have. So let's do some patrol zone, but you're going to have to set Johnston as its destination to do that. Um, as you can see, it's trying to avoid the Japanese task force that's no longer in the area. But let's do a patrol zone, and we'll do a very small one here, just in and around Johnston Island. So we'll do 1, 2, and then 3 all around the island. I guess I could even back that 1 off a little bit. Let's do 1 there, actually. And then it's just going all, see, I guess I had it right the first time. I wanted to cover every hex around the island, so we need to put it here so that it goes that way. Okay, back, and we'll have it max react 2. That's how I like to do my destroyers. Excellent. Okay, I mean, that's all we need. He's going to go around and do some anti-sub. So let's go back. Let's form a new task force. Let's do anti-sub. Marine combat, done. We'll go get the other 3,500. The Chew, done. All right. And I don't know. I mean, we could have this one come back out to Johnston. We could have this one go do Palmyra. We could have it come up to Midway if we wanted to get crazy. I don't think that makes much sense. We'll get the subs up here in case he tries to land in Midway. But let's have this one do in and around Lahue. I mean, you could keep this at Pearl Harbor as the home base. Let's just do that actually. Um, so actually, whoops. Let's set destination. Let's say set destination Pearl Harbor, and we'll keep that there. That way, now this patrol zone is active. We'll do how about 1, 2, and this will have the added benefit that if they sense something close to Pearl Harbor, we'll have his max react on 2, and he can get back up here. 3, okay, and we'll do max react 2. Excellent. Okay. Now you've got a bunch of these that are 5750. It looks, oh, we do have another one, the Allen. I mean, we've got so many damn destroyers here, sometimes you forget what all you've got. Let's do more ASW combat. All right, so we have the Allen down here. There it is. Done. All right. This one I'll send this one out to Johnston so we have 2 out here. Why not? Means we're going to have to get a little AKL coming out to Johnston to bring fuel as well. So let's just do the patrol zone. That one can maybe go a little wider. Let's try here. So we've got 2 rings. Whoops. Set boundary 1. This is just how I like to do it. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong or whatever. But I do like to have a decent presence in and around Johnston. I just don't like the idea of the Japanese having a chance to take Johnston. Um, it can cause all kinds of problems trying to get things in and out of Pearl Harbor. So I defend it very, very strongly. If they take Midway, well, you don't want them to. We're going to try to keep that from happening, but if it does happen, so be it. Now, I'm going to leave the subs here. I'll probably do those on my own. I don't necessarily want to just throw out there where I put all my subs, but um, we will talk about those a lot in the future. Litchfield, he's going to do an ASW combat. Done. I'll come back and do some of these. I'm not going to sit here and show you guys how to set up a patrol zone over and over. You get the idea. This one will just do it out and around Pearl Harbor. This will be an in close task force because he's got kind of a limited range, 4625. So let's do 1. Let's do, and the ones with a little more range we'll have go out further. 2, and then boundary 3, so he's really in close, just to make sure it doesn't get anything too close up here. I'll actually leave his max react to only 1, and that way he's not, running away or is lured away from the island. Okay, probably enough of those. I'll do those on my own. We also have mine layers. We will want to be, mine laying everywhere around here. So let's do mine lay. He'll pick these up. DM, where are you? Hit me up in my DMs. Gamble, done. And then you can just put this on ley mines. Okay, and we've got ACM here. The other ones I'll send to Hilo, maybe to Midway, to Johnston. Let's just do one out to Johnston just to do it. Let's do mine laying. Get down here. They're all kind of the same, these DMs. Montgomery, done. All right. Let's lay mines, and we'll just go out to Johnston, lay them, and it'll come right back to Pearl Harbor. And then we'll do that to Hilo. We'll do that out to Midway if we can get out there in time, etc., etc. Okay, let's go on to the next group here. Um, we will be setting up with these DMSs, of course, mine sweeping groups. They also do ASW. These tenders, so we've got the Pellis, which is a submarine tender. You got to start thinking, where would we need this? Now, the Pellis, let's form this up. Let's do support. Done. Let's grab a hold of it. Pellis. Okay. We could also grab one of the repair. Uh, let's do that. Let's grab a submarine tender, a repair. We'll do, sure, a destroyer tender. Do I have one? Nah, they all have really big. Um, we can do an AVD and maybe an AVP. Do we need an AVP? I don't think so. I don't think we do. So let's grab these four supports. All right, done. Where are they going? They are going to go north to Alaska. So let's go put them in Dutch Harbor. And that way we have kind of an last resort Alaskan base. And I will beef the heck out of that up. We will auto disband it when it gets there, and we'll set that as its head. As its home port. And that way you've got submarine repair, you've got potential destroyer rearming there, you've got plane rearming there. You could also just send them into Anchorage, but I like to have them out at Dutch Harbor if we can. Okay, so I would also set up one of those, or I will set up one of those to go down to Suva. Let's just go ahead and do that. You could put it in Pago or Suva. I think Suva is much more defensible, really. And so I am going to want to send one destroyer there, but which one? One of these 6500s. It's got the good AA. All right. So we also have the 57s. It's got only got 8 torpedoes. That's the main difference. Let's send one of these 6500s, the Tucker. Okay. Let's send a repair ship. Let's send a destroyer tender, uh, a float patrol. I think that'll do it. Oh, I want an AV down there as well. Yep. That's got a huge AA capability as well. So now, I mean, this would give Suva just an absolute ton of AA. So, okay, done. This is my support group that will go to Suva. So we'll have a repair. We can bring ships in there to repair. We've got a float patrol plane tender. We've got a destroyer tender. We've got an aircraft tender. We've got another destroyer tender here. You can see auxiliary aircraft tender destroyer, Swan, aircraft tender, patrol, and then an auxiliary repair. That's a really nice group. And let's get them off to Suva. We probably want to put something similar in Darwin. You've got all of these ships. You may as well use them. Let's put these into Suva, which is going to be our main base out here. We'll call that our home base. All right. And then we'll auto disband that, and let's give it a waypoint. Use waypoint, set 1. All right, we'll just go out and around Christmas here. there. And those are how I set up my supports. Now make sure you have them auto disband in the port because that's how they're actually used. They need to be in port or sitting in the port, not in a task force to actually be used. So I think I'm going to call that the end of this episode. I just wanted to show you kind of some of the stuff I'm doing in and around Pearl. I will send some of this out, including the base forces. I will take one of these small, we don't have that many AKs, but we have a couple of small AKLs. The Hirondelle, that's perfect. I'll do a cargo, done. Let's go find the Hirondelle if we can. Where is it? That's not it. We'll probably put it with a patrol gunboat. Gosh darn it, where is this thing? There it is. All right, done. Let's put it with one of the patrol gunboats. The Sacramento, sure. Um, Done. All right, and then we would dock that, load supplies, and then that's going to go out to Johnston, back and forth. Yeah, well, hopefully it won't keep that. But we'll do CS Johnston Island. Make sure you always put do not refuel on CSs. So anyway, those are the kind of things I'll be setting up. Just wanted to show you, what I'll be doing in and around Hawaii. You'll see we still have 94 ships in port. Now about 25 or 30 of those are sitting in the shipyard or on pierside repair. But I got a little more work to do here. I'm going to get the turn back out to our friend Lodrick and see what happens. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Strategy Gaming Dojo out.